Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to remove these finger wires because they were technically only put in initially for show. So we're going to remove them from the palm plate. Now they will have to be cut to length, to the correct length, because we already have the ends deburred where hopefully they won't go through the fingers. We're going to cut them at this end. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to install our palm plate. And to do that, we're going to have to open up her hand through this small cut. It's only about a ½ inch. And as you can see, there is the wrist attachment. It's a bit difficult to get to. Now WM does an absolutely superb job in reality of they will tack only the nut to the frame of the skeleton. Now that is one thing that they do correctly, because that allows you to remove and or tighten a joint with nothing more than a hex key wrench. And this isn't quite, there it goes. And we're going to slip this in place. Now there are some washers that I need to go and get that goes there. Okay, they actually do provide some Bienville type spring washers, and that's one thing that I do actually want to hand it to WM for, is they do a good job of providing things that do work very well. I know sometimes I come down hard on manufacturers. It's not that I don't like them. I do. They do fantastic work when they want to. And their dolls are fantastic dolls. And they could be so much more. Okay, this unit is a little bit wider than the original, so I think I will try to only use one of these washers. And I think I can actually get away with that. I hope I'm not blocking your view too much. I'm trying not to. Oh yes, that will work. One will work fine. And as you can see, by tightening only a very little bit, we can actually control how tight the hand is to move, thus enabling us to tweak how well it poses. And I think that's going to be plenty tight enough. But yeah, they do a very good job of that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to at least attempt to insert the wire for the thumb so that I can get a good measurement of how long that needs to be. And it is into the thumb right now. It's about at the tip. I'm going to try to go right to the very tip of it. If I come out, I'll simply have to close it up, I suppose. Okay, I think it's going to be right about there that I need to cut it. And again, I'm going to cut from this end because the other end has been somewhat blunted off. Get an idea how far I did strip it back. And again, this is like a 16 gauge NM type electrical wire. There. Now I can try my very best to insert it back into place, hopefully. Without puncturing her anywhere. And the wire actually slides in fairly easy. I'm just trying to be a bit cautious. I don't particularly want to poke through anywhere. And you have to kind of work the TPE into it. There we go. Yes. There. Now I can tighten it securely and not just for show. These are number 6 32 set screws. So I'm using a 1/16 Allen key or hex key wrench. Yes. And these holes are drilled all the way through this palm plate. That does a couple things. It allows me to, it's easier for machining purposes for making the palm plate, number one. Number two, it actually allows me to and one is done. Yes. It allows me to tighten the wire very securely into position where hopefully it won't give any further problems. And right now I'm hunting for, Whoop. 1, 2. There should be another. I want to get it in the wrong hole. 2. There it is. Right there. The hole to go down into the index finger. And again, being a bit cautious, not wanting to protrude, and trying to follow the original path. Again, I would very, very much like to thank Cinnamon Lover for contributing knowledge learned with the impeccable Miss Cinnamon. And I think we're going to be fine right there. We're going to cut it about right there. We'll pull her back. And again, cutting from this end so that we do not have to worry about refinishing the end where our finger is going to be left out, because we absolutely don't want to have to redo that end. This NM wire is a bit on the tough side. There we go. Now we try to work it back into the finger. If you have any real difficulty doing this, you could also use a bit of Vaseline to provide some lubricant if you needed to do that. Whoop. We just dropped our wire off the side of our palm plate. There it is. I'm going to remove that so that we can get in here. Let me go get a pair of forceps. Okay, I went and got a pair of forceps so that I can maybe grab this finger. Yeah, there we go. Oh, snapped right in. And again, we insert the 6 by 32 socket head screw, which allows us to tighten the wire very securely so that it does not rotate, so that you don't get the spaghetti effect in the fingers, because that is what causes that, is the wires get loose and they rotate, and it's the rotation that of the wire inside the finger that causes them to have the spaghetti effect. And now, sure, look at there. Absolutely gorgeous movement again. And actually more stout than they originally were. They're a bit stronger now. So she will have a bit of a better grip, which can be a good thing. Trying to find the second hole, and we have done that. And now to try to follow that through. There we go. Into the original channel. Sometimes it's a bit hard to find that original channel, but if you can, that's what you want to do. And again, just kind of working the flesh back up all the way. I'm about halfway through into that finger now. Move some stuff out of the way. And again, a great big huge thank you to Lefty for providing us with wonderful lighting to be able to do these videos much better. And to all of Miss April's followers on missattler.com and also on her YouTube channels, and to everybody who purchases body color, because that is what is making this possible. And right now I don't know if we're going to be able to offer this as a kit. That is our hope, is that we can. But we can for sure offer an abundance of help, and I believe we're there. Yeah, I believe we're there. Yeah, and there's where we're going to have to cut again. Let's pull this back a little bit. Make the final cut. And we're leaving the insulation, the original wire insulation, on the wire. I don't know if it makes that big of a difference or not. We're leaving it on primarily to see, number one, does it make any difference? Number two, we're thinking it may give somewhat of a buffer instead of just having the copper right at the very end of the fingers. It has this plastic coating which we're hoping will maybe help prevent poke throughs. The rotation of this wrist seems to be very, very loose. And I'm not really sure how to go about correcting that. Right now it's not really an issue, but if anybody knows a way to correct that, we would be very appreciative if you would share that information with us. And again, make it really good and snug to make sure that wire doesn't turn, because these holes are drilled completely through and centered with the finger attachment holes. We are absolutely able to actually put a small divot in the wire, which will greatly improve its ability to not want to spin in her hand. And again, trying to follow that same original channel, which isn't really that difficult to do. And again, I'm almost there. It's coming along pretty good. She will be glad, I know, to have use of her hands again. There we go. And we're going to cut that one about right there. These weren't all exactly the same length. That's why what I'm cutting off seems to be varying. Number one, they weren't all the same length. Number two, the fingers technically aren't all the same length. Hey, that one came off really easy. Okay, and now to get that finger into its correct socket, there we go. Oh no, we almost lost it inside of her. We can't have that. She would have a fit. And putting it very, very snugly. All right. One left to go on this first hand. It seems to work a little better if we take this out first. have to worry about losing it. Okay. And again, this hole seems big, but the cut is rather small in reality. About ½ inch, maybe 12 centimeters, 12 millimeters, I'm sorry, in that neighborhood. And I cut it about right there. We'll pull it back out a little bit. Make that cut. We had a little difficulty getting this, there we go, insulation off. And we'll slide, we'll stretch her out a little bit. There we go. Right. We're not putting any kind of Loctite or anything on these set screws. I'm hoping they don't back out. I don't think they will. It won't be that bad to get to them if they do, but I don't think they will. Okay. There's one hand, and we may have to massage a little bit to get our TPE to close back up. Because you have to remember, this palm plate is considerably larger than the original. So there is an issue here at play. Where it is somewhat bigger than it originally was. As you can see, she actually has much better control over her hands than she originally did. And the palms can actually bend as well. And again, it may take a little bit of doing to there. We'll have to close that up and seal it. It'll be alright. It'll be fine. The palm plate, there we go. There. Stretches. There. Thank God for the elasticity. And I think what we're going to do, we may have to redo that one. That one's a little bit long. I'm going to redo that one. I believe it's a little long. You see how it still has the finger stretched out. So I don't particularly want to leave it like that. I think it will come through. Yeah, the finger seems to be somewhat stretched. I think what we're going to do, we're going to have to pull this back out of its base. Hope we can. There we go. And we're going to take it off. See how it made that divot? That will absolutely keep that finger from turning. But I made that finger too long, and I'm scared that it's going to cause an issue. So I would prefer to have it too short, if anything. So we will take and shorten it, not much, maybe 3/8 of an inch. 10 millimeters maybe, in that neighborhood. Now I know what y'all are thinking, that by putting the divot in the wire, if it happens to break inside of there, what do? Because now the wire is broke inside the palm plate. So what do? And that is a good question. And we do actually have an answer for that, believe it or not. If that actually does happen, then what you would do is you would take the palm plate back out. Remember, the palm plate is only held in with one 6 millimeter bolt or machine screw. Now, that is a metric, and it is 6 millimeter. The set screws that I'm using are SAE. They're not metric. Mainly because I don't stock metric. Therefore, that's why I'm not using metric. Yes, that I think will be better. Maybe could have taken it off a little more, but I'm going to leave it at that. That's going to be good. Yes, that's going to be good. And now she will actually have, this is an older repair that I made. She will again finally have full use of her hands, and by the time I get it cleaned up, it will be fine. And that's how you do a complete palm plate replacement, from that to basically this. As you can see, those wires were just looped around. This is simply a piece of tubing that was crimped around these pieces of spring with the wire looped around into them. This was actually the thumb, which was bent over and like this. That was the shape of it originally. And as you can see, the palm plate was very, very small. Now you actually have a palm that she can actually rest her hand on. But you still have the ability to bend the palm of the hand. Thank you very much.